Sorry, as I just adjust all of my sound and my captioning settings. Amazing. Hello for anyone watching. This is a very impromptu stream that I'm going to check is actually functioning. Amazing. So, yes, this is a very impromptu stream. I've been quite open. This is to feed the analytic gods, but find a fun way of actually doing so. So the idea here is I have a random game generator that I made a while ago, which is like a little treat for anyone who's on my mailing list. And I was gonna give it a couple of whirls, see what comes up, and then try and make a fully functioning tabletop game in like an hour. So I actually, this is the first thing that came up when I ran through it, is this Dead Heist game. I actually think this sounds kind of cool, but what I'm going to do is I have to make one of the first three, so I'm going to check the next one. I have copied this, see what comes up. Oh god, no, I don't want to do something to do with the Avengers. No, I'm in a more like low-key emotional mood than kind of big Avengers stuff. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with the first one that came up, and so I'm gonna switch here. Okay, so Dead Heist, a game of chance. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? You play the scientific team behind a now rampant monster who must tell each other how you really feel before there's nothing of you left. Put it to a secret vote whenever you push yourself or your tools to breaking point. The game ends when there's nothing left to say. Okay, that gives like a lot of structure, I think. Okay, so scientific team. I'm wondering if like you probably need some tools that are specific to what kind of scientist you are. I'm curious about this monster who you must tell each other how you really feel before there's nothing of you left. So I kind of feel like maybe the monster has something to do with that. That the monster is... Okay, it's people who play with me as a GM will know how much I do stuff like this, but I think it's a monster that like eats parts of reality. It eats reality, it eats memories, it eats thoughts. So this is a memory eating monster. I promise I'm not just going to come up with a story, I'm going to actually come up with mechanics and stuff around this. Okay, so we've got a memory eating monster / reality. Yeah, reality eating monster. Okay, and so you're the scientific team that made this. Okay, so surely you must have tools and stuff that are to do with reality, to do with things like that. Okay, so let's just make some arbitrary decisions and then we'll redraft if necessary. You know, because when you're making a game in an hour, you want to do multiple drafts. Okay, so the scientific team, it's also not all going to fit in like this little area next to me, but this is just so you can kind of see what my head is doing. So the scientific team, probably, let's say this is a game for 4 to 6 players. So let's just make a table that people can roll on, because God knows I'm a fan of tables. Okay, so probably we want like a physicist who does, and I mean, if this is a monster, then you probably want, a geneticist. Let's have a geneticist. I have no idea if I'm spelling these terms correctly either. Please don't come at me if I misspelled scientific terms. So physicist, geneticist, who else is on a scientific team for building a monster? A reality-eating monster. Probably a quantum. Do we have a physicist and a quantum? Yeah, I'm gonna say quantum physicist because that feels... Oh, as in... Sorry, I'm just looking at chat. Is that as in the sci-fi writer? Short story had a shrinking world where someone's room was... Philip K. Dick, yes. That's a really cool idea. I think there's definitely going to be like a shrinking world thing, like this monster. Oh my god, okay, so if anyone has seen late series of Red Dwarf, one of the slightly maligned series where Rimmer and Lister get the nanobots to peel potatoes for them, but the nanobots can't discern between different types of like stuff, and so the nanobots just eat everything. I think this reality eating monster, it's not like kind of a big physical kaiju style monster. I think it's like weird nanobots. I think that's one of the things that's going to be core to it. But Philip is such a good shout. Okay, we've got a quantum physicist. Why can't I spell? I've spelt it above, and I think it's right above. Robotics engineer, because so this monster is a swarm of nanobots, akin to that episode of Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf. If people here haven't seen Red Dwarf, then I thoroughly recommend it. So we've got a physicist, a geneticist. What do they all do? Okay, so expert in robots, expert in. I don't know what okay, I'll admit I don't know what a quantum physicist does, and I'm just kind of putting it in there as an expert in like universes, realities. That's what we're going to say right now. Expert in genes. Nanobots are semi-organic, like they're organic-ish beings. Expert in physical laws. Okay, we've got a few roles. What else? If you were a scientific team behind this kind of monster, what kind of scientist is really good with energy? Like energy transference or something like that. I might just start Googling. I'm gonna start Googling types of scientist. Okay, this is great. I mean, I don't think a botanist is going to be one of the scientists here, but this is a list of scientists. Physicist, computer scientist, biologist. Okay, it's a list of 5 scientists that are not. 10 types of scientists. Okay, at least 10. And then I am somehow going to work some of these scientists into this. Because I think they all need, like, I want them all to have some kind of tool or something. I mean, if you push yourself all your tools to breaking point. Though this feels like something that I'm going to write and then I'm going to strip out and then go back to something way more emotional. And of course my internet isn't working properly. Okay, so physicist, geneticist, quantum physicist, robotics engineer, probably like a human. Something to do with the brain, a scientist of the brain. I'm gonna say a neuroscientist. Expert in brains, thoughts. And the final one, I'm gonna just like say an environmental scientist. Expert in environments, surroundings. Okay, this will probably get changed, but it is something we can use. Energy transfer can happen on many levels. Could be physical energy, chemical energy. True. Okay, physicist, chemist. Right, I might just kind of put physicist, chemist in brackets. Thank you for people who understand science more than I do. I did them to GCSE and then I abandoned them as a concept and went and studied philosophy at uni, where we studied science, but only in a sense of what can you believe about science. Not in a bad way, just in a philosophy studies everything and looks at it critically. Okay, so we've got some scientists. Right, put it to a secret vote. Okay, I'm trying to think of what this secret vote thing looks like. And why would it be a secret vote? Okay, so we'll use cards for the secret vote. We're just going to make it a binary vote. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be a binary vote around right now, but we'll just say red for yes, black for no. So we've got a way of people doing secret votes. Tell each other how you really feel. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to tell each other how you really feel before there's nothing of you left. Okay, so there's got to be some kind of... Oh, sorry, there's something in my eye. There's got to be something stopping you from telling each other how you really feel. And it can't be just that, it can't just be the monster. Of course, okay, you can either use your turn or like your action to deal with the monster or tell people how you really feel. So then there's a bit of a tension, because obviously if you don't deal with the monster, then you might not get to tell everyone how you feel, or you might lose a part of yourself before you can tell someone how you feel. But if you just focus on telling each other how you feel, then the monster's going to take over way quickly, or you might not even have a chance to deal with it. Okay, so when you act, you can either deal with the monster or reveal something about how you feel. Okay, I want to kind of dig in a bit to like how you feel, and there's nothing of you left. What is there of you to start with? Because oh god, like practically everything that I've ever done, whether it's games, whether it's theatre, etc., anything that I've ever like solely made myself has involved memory in some way, because it's just like a thing of mine. Okay, so tell each other how you really feel. So how you feel. Okay, so we've got secrets and confessions. We've got feelings towards each other. Positives and negatives. I'm feeling more that this is like a deck-based game, because I really like the idea of turning over a card and the like suit of the card determining what kind of thing you're able to do or what thing you can confess to. I always love that feeling of like cards running out, running dry. And I think there's something quite nice there, rather than the chance being like, oh, my timer. My timer has basically started. Yeah, I don't have a formal timer within my screen. I should have done something like that. But I started at 11. So I have until 12 to try and make this game. So I'm almost a quarter of the way through. Thank you, Bird Lover 420, for making sure that I'm actually being like spot on about this. So, okay, this is going to be a deck-based game. I'm going to have to go onto a new page of this for the moment so that people can actually see what I'm writing. So, suits. Draw from the deck. Oh, okay. Something that I've been finding kind of interesting recently is the idea of not... Yes, by 11 I mean 11 a.m, 14 minutes ago, 11 a.m. GMT. So apologies, I always forget about people in different time zones, which sometimes creates a bit of chaos in my life. So what was that? Yeah, I really like the idea of making up, kind of not doing character generation beforehand, but character generation being something that actually happens as a part of play. So when you're revealing a secret, it's not one that you've pre-planned, it's just one that you're kind of making up and drawing out of what you're currently doing. So I'm wondering if I should put in a timer or something now. Okay, so draw from the deck to advance the story, game, etc. Beforehand, you're going to need, each player needs a name, a kind of scientist, maybe a couple of facts about themselves. And I think we also need to know, like where they are in the story. Like how much damage has this monster done? Where is the story starting? Maybe some generic text about this monster, how far it's advanced, etc. I know you can only see, if anyone's like just joining, then you can only see bits of this screen. So I had not planned that far ahead because I made up this idea last night to do this stream. But basically, trying to make this game, which is about a scientific team behind a now rampant monster who must tell each other how you really feel before there's nothing of you left. So, okay. I'm going to say that each player needs a name. Okay, so we're going to use the suits to generate events in the game. So we've got hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades. Thank you folks for joining for this very odd little experiment of a stream. Okay, so what are the kind of actions that you can do in this? Basically, you can tell someone how you feel, which is revealing a secret, confessing to a guilt, revealing a secret, confessing to a guilt, being honest about your opinion of them, throwing around accusations, etc. So you can tell someone how you feel. You can try to hold off the monster using your skills, using your scientific knowledge and tools, anything like that. Tell someone how you feel. Try to hold off the monster. Keep hold of yourself. I think there's got to be like a keep hold of who you are. So retain a memory or identity. I'm not kind of sure what else like keeping hold of who you are really means, but I think it's retain a memory, identity, resist the monster. Oh yeah, maybe there's like a stage at which there's a film called The Ruins, I think, and it's kind of basically about some people who get trapped on top of some ruins, and there's some horrible plants that grow inside them. And it's kind of about having to deal with this thing that's already inside you, already doing things. So yeah, maybe you just start with like the nanobots got loose and the nanobots are inside. Oh, that's a really cool idea about the end state in chat. Success will be having part of your consciousness become part of the nanobot's new reality. Oh geez, this is getting very kind of lovely abstract metaphorical stuff. End state, part of nanobot's new reality. Retain a memory or identity, resist the monster, hold onto words, etc. Because like Pontypool has a cool thing about words getting taken over by stuff. Okay, there's another suit. What else is the other thing? Push yourself or your tools to breaking point. Kind of interesting what that is, because like you're trying to hold off this monster, you're trying to tell each other how you really feel, you're trying to make sure that you're not left with nothing of you. I wonder if there's hold off the monster and there's work with the monster. So maybe you can use the nanobots to try and know something about someone else, or yeah, some kind of collaboration, betrayal, even. I mean, it's gonna be quite intense and busy. So let's match these up to things that feel symbolically good. So hearts, obviously, tell someone how you feel. I'm gonna say diamonds is keeping hold of who you are. Clubs, try to hold off the monster or work with the monster. I think clubs, you know, you're fighting back, and spades, you are digging a hole. So you've got pretty much a full deck of cards. Everyone needs, okay, so give each player one red card and one black card. Let's say that's at random. Give each player one red card and one black card at random. These are used in the anonymous private votes. I think this is a GM-less game. Often when I make games that are based around cards and stacks of cards, it ends up being GM-less because it's kind of like the cards fulfill a kind of role of the GM, giving it structure. I hope you can't hear me like slurping when I'm drinking water. Okay, so yeah, this is a GM-less game. Game for 4 to 6 players. Okay, now it would take so much time if I try to write a prompt for 1 to 13 of things. So, draw cards 1 by 1. Let's say, yeah, the last player to, I don't know, just like pick a player to go first. Who cares? Player to go first. Turn over the card publicly. Everyone knows what's happening in the story. Where are we going to start? Where the story is starting, you are a group of scientists who have been doing pioneering work in nanorobotics, genetics, and neurophysics. What did I call it? Neurosciences. Neurosciences. Essentially exploring how small clouds of nanorobots could. It's weird how close this is getting to someone's character in a game that I used to run. Who was genuinely just a series of nanorobots messing with people's heads. Essentially exploring how small clouds of nanorobots could manipulate perception and such like. However, it's all gone horribly wrong, and the nanorobots have learned how to manipulate reality itself. They are loose in the lab. If you escape, you undo the hermetic sealing of the lab, and the nanobots will be released into the wild. No. I'm gonna actually change this up a little bit because I kind of don't want it to be like a really high stakes stress thing. I'm actually thinking that what might be more interesting is this is like a year after the nanobots escaped and the world has been changed. Yeah, and then because like part of this can just be telling the story about what your scientist has been doing for the last year, trying to survive, and how the world has changed. Yes, okay, we're as someone who I work with who is a very good storyteller says, we're going to put the fiction in the future. Because we've been working on a lot of fictions lately, and I'm also going to eat some biscuits. I have no idea if this is like deafening over the mic. I'm sorry. Right, okay. A year ago, you were a group of scientists who had been doing We'll just, imagine that the tenses there are correct. It's all gone horribly wrong, and the nanorobots have learned how to manipulate reality itself. Life has changed drastically since they escaped. But you all miraculously have managed to survive. Chance has conspired to bring you all back together in the pockets of people who now exist and help each other through this new strange world. It's time to talk before it's too late. Okay, cool. So it's a slightly more apocalyptic-y vibe to it now. But I kind of like that because I want it to be a bit more calm as it were. Okay. Right. That means that actually also I think now this is a more interesting thing. And that can't be seen on me. I don't know if that can be seen. No, that. Okay, I'm just manually dragging stuff around so it's possible to actually see what's happening as I'm typing. So, hearts will be telling someone how you feel. Diamonds will be keep hold of who you are, which means primarily sharing a memory, world building, establishing facts about your character, etc. Try to hold off the monster using your skills, scientific tools, even just mentally trying to resist the nanobots as they try to interfere. How can your memories convince the bot's hive mind to preserve mankind? That's kind of interesting, because what I'm thinking is the whole work with the monster thing, what would be quite cool is if that allowed you to introduce information about other characters in. Now, obviously, this comes with a big caveat. I play with a lot of very lovely people who I totally trust to introduce information about my character. And I quite like that style of collaborative play, but I know it's not everyone's vibe. Because having someone say like, oh yeah, weren't you in Turkey for a year about a character, sometimes some people are happy to roll with that and other times you're just like, wait, what? But gain information about others, but potentially are you trying to get them to preserve mankind or change their actions? Them being the nanobots. Okay, this is shaping up. Halfway through, how is this going so quickly? I mean, I know how it's going so quickly. This is a stupid thing to try and do. I shouldn't be wasting time on eating. Okay, so we're going to draw cards. Each card is going to do something. I want the picture cards to do something different because of course I do. Just trying to see which of these things that I need to like drag. That's fine. I'm going to have to just start a new page again to make this work. So I'm going to just copy this stuff about suits so I know that what you're doing whenever you do stuff. Okay, so we've got what, like say 1 to 5, 6 to 10, Jack to let's call 2 to 5, 6 to 10, Jack to Ace. The numbers determine. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. This makes sense. This makes sense to me. Stuff in my head is starting to make sense. Whenever a card that's drawn is a picture card, it's a picture card you've got, yeah, picture card or ace. I'm going to include aces in that. Whenever a card that is drawn is a picture card or ace, I'm trying to position this so it's still possible to see what I'm thinking. Whenever a card that's drawn is a picture card or ace, the monster pushes your character, whoever has drawn the card, to their limits. Put it to a secret vote whenever you push yourself or your tools to breaking point. I might I might just kind of put tools to the side right now because I'm way more interested in how characters feel and think and stuff. To their limits. Interpret this how you will. Make sure to talk to players about safety, boundaries, triggers, etc. beforehand, as this is a really flexible game. The monster pushes your character to their limits. When a character is pushed to their limits, I'm gonna have to do something quite Eurish so that you don't immediately get pushed to your limits before we know anything about your character. Maybe is it the first time that you get a picture card, or is it just like the third time you pull a picture card? Like it's steadily growing, it's steadily pushing you. That might be interesting. I'm not quite sure yet. That might be getting too complex for 28 minutes to go. When a character is pushed to their limits, there is a vote. The nanobots can draw on individuals' power, and often what others are doing, thinking, feeling at any time affects what they do. Sometimes all the nanobots, oh my god, yes, it's Sphere, it's the movie Sphere. Sorry if I've just spoiled Sphere for you. It's not quite this, but anyone who's seen Sphere, you'll realise why I've just said that. Sometimes all the nanobots do is manifest what people want or are thinking of. So, put cards face down. The player whose character has been pushed to their limits. Okay, it's cool. I'm not so worried about people. Yeah. Sorry, this is a stream of consciousness. This is a stream of consciousness. Should definitely call something in the future. Put cards face down. Player whose character's been pushed to their limits shuffles these so it's unknown who's voted what. A red card means that character is lost to the nanobots. What this means is explained below. Getting to that later. Red card means the character is lost to the nanobots. A black card means that they survive this attempt on themselves. Vote according to what your character thinks. Has the endangered character revealed something that makes you wary of them, hate them? Do you have particular reasons to hope they stay around? Or do you blame them for all this? This is purely about characters and how they feel. If if the majority of the votes are black, the character survives the attack from the nanobots. If the majority of the votes are red, then they do not. In the case of a tie, that can just be seen in the screen. There we go. Jesus Christ. In the case of a tie. Sorry, my window's open because otherwise it gets too hot in here and I can always smell when my downstairs neighbours are smoking weed. The majority of votes are black. Characters votes for many votes. In the case of a tie, I reckon they've got to, like, they survive. They survive, but lose at least one memory or feeling that they've previously mentioned. You don't have to keep notes of these, but some players may wish to. How they roleplay the character might change accordingly. So what it means when a character doesn't survive a nanobot attack. I think this means that basically just like the nanobots take them over and they become part of the nanobots. And what I kind of want to do is then have that be a shift where previously everyone's kind of around and they're sharing things about themselves because they're trying to like share things face to face, do things properly before everything goes down. And if someone succumbs to the nanobots, what they have is the nanobots information and they can just share, they can sow chaos by sharing whatever they want with others. Or, ooh, they make others think things. Yeah, when you pick up a card as a nanobot controlled character, you're not going, here's like a memory of mine. It's changing someone else's memory. Oh, I like that. You continue to draw cards. I know there are some suggestions in the chat. I will have a look at those in a sec, but I'm just trying to keep this while I remember it in my head. You continue to draw cards, but you are acting as a nanobot, distorting people's perception of reality, their memories, and such like. The suits now apply as following, because obviously it doesn't make sense to be a nanobot and to draw a card that means hold off the monster, because you are the monster by that point. Oh, this is so cute. I love kind of like stuff that's just like bittersweet ending stories are one of my big jams. You alter okay, so this is tricky. I'm just thinking in terms of this actually functioning, so that I'm not just like, these are cool rules, and then you put them together and you're like, but I can't do this stuff. Defeated characters can help remaining ones by offering insight or memory to help. But that's interesting. Maybe one of the suits. Okay. Hearts. You can help a remaining character in some way. There's a bit of you left in there. Give this card to another player, and they get to tell someone how they feel. This is an extra turn, not something that replaces. Yeah, sure. Not something that replaces what they do. That turn. Okay, so diamonds. Alter another character's perception of the current reality. Clubs. Spades. Alter another character's memory in some way. We're going to need some examples of these to actually show how this should work. alter another character's perception of the current reality, alter another character's memory in some way, alter another character's perception of the character, opinion of another character. I think I need to create something that means people don't get taken over by nanobots that quickly, because Jesus Christ, I mean, this is fun, but this is just going to send it all over the place. So let's pull a quiet year on this, because that has a very good way of delaying stuff. So take a deck of cards. Give each player a black and red card. To keep, these should be picture cards, or aces. Shuffle the remaining deck. Yeah, that's no, because I can't have them arranged by stuff. No, that's, hey, it's up to, it is a game of chance. Give each player a red and black card to keep. These should be picture cards or aces. So if it's 4 players, then quite a few are taken out. If it's 6 players, then you've got 12 taken out. Yeah, that feels, yes, great. That gives people time to do stuff. Shuffle the remaining deck, which will be used for the game. Okay. Right, okay. I feel like there's a decent shape to this. Okay, so I don't think we need to have this stuff. After all that, like, what is a scientist? What is science? The game ends when there's nothing left to say. I mean, 52 minus, let's just say it's 5 people playing. 42 turns. Feels like potentially it's very bulky. So end states. Let's figure out how this frickin' ends. So you're going to build up an idea of who you are by just the initial, yeah. Okay, wait. We can work this into your voting cards. Nope. If we work it, if we work it into the voting cards, then everyone actually knows who voted what. So that doesn't make sense. Okay. Maybe it's we deal out a few more cards at the beginning. Just to give like a springboard of who the characters are. So at the beginning, sorry, I've just got this in Pages in such a weird way to try and make sure it shows up on screen. These should be picture cards or aces. These are solely for the private votes that happen during the game. These are solely for the private votes that happen during the game. Sorry, trying to silently say sorry for needing to not be constantly talking. These are solely for the private votes that happen during the game. Shuffle the deck of cards. Each player takes 2 cards from the top of the deck. The suits and the number on each card, suits and the value of each card. Oh God, what if you... Okay, just to make sure, separate out the remaining picture cards, aces. Shuffle the numbers only deck of cards. Each player takes 2 cards from the top of this deck. So each card tell you what kind of person your character is. So let's determine characters. Hearts, diamonds, spades, clubs. Let's do this. Let's just go. We've got 14 minutes. Okay. Clubs. What are just 4 easy ways to divide people? Well, I guess also we've got 1, 2. No, we haven't got 1. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10. So let's say scientific focus. Yeah, scientific focus, and each person does a slightly different thing, and then the other ones are more your like personality. Scientific focus. Scientific focus, neurological, scientific focus, robotics, scientific focus. Focus is maybe not the best word because I know that it gets used in different games in like role-playing systems or different things, but right now this just means like here's loosely what you are as a scientist. Neurological, physical, robotic, neurological, physical. I just want a scientist of reality, and I genuinely don't know if quantum is scientific research universes. This is not gonna... Okay, physical cosmology, the origin of the universe, reality. You know what? I might just go like, actually you're a metaphysicist. Metaphysics. Screw it. That's something that I'm only really familiar with from uni, from doing metaphysics, which is kind of a science of things like thought and identity and that kind of study. So, and then we've got, yeah, I'm just wondering what's like a really interesting, because I mean you're building characters with 2 cards and you know kind of what scientists they are, and then you want something else that feels like it gives a really sharp thing, a really kind of clear insight. And I'm always really fascinated by how different systems build characters. Maybe these aren't the scientific focuses. Maybe we just have that as a separate thing and they're more like the... Yeah, screw it. Let's try this. I'm intrigued by this idea with 11 minutes left to go of trying to make this a functioning game. We're going to start them off with at least a little bit of information. Your deepest regret is... Your fondest memory is... Your proudest... Your greatest achievement is... Your sharpest fear. Oh my god, pulling people from different historic periods, is that this? I don't know what I worry that I'm gonna get so confused, or there might be too many layers, I don't know. Because I feel like this is something that probably feels quite simple, but actually once you get into, especially with the nanobots coming in and you change people's perceptions, like you could potentially change someone's perception so they feel like they're from a different historic period. Your deepest regret is, and then these are just going to be the other halves of those sentences. So basically the game equivalent of those charts that people share on Facebook, where it's like, what is your romance novel title? just use the first initial of your first letter and your birthday to find out. Okay, so, and then we're just gonna linked to family, linked to yeah, screw it. I think sharpest fear is going to be a more interesting one. Fondest memory. Your deepest resentment. Let's make these people a little more messy. Your deepest regret, your deepest resentment, your sharpest fear. Is it okay that one of them is positive and the other's negative? Yeah, sure. That'll create different starter groups. Linked to family, linked to romance, linked to physical possessions, linked to monetary worth, linked to a contest, linked to 8 minutes. Let's just spend some busking time typing out linked to multiple times like I'm achieving a thing. Linked to. For anyone who's joining, I've got 8 more minutes to finish making up this game. Linked to family, romance, physical possessions, monetary worth, a contest. I got, well, like family to friends, linked to travel, linked to friends, linked to travel, linked to like bullies maybe, but I feel like that's just gonna be, I'm doing that thing where I'm going like, what do I regret? What are my fond memories? What's my deepest resentment? Linked to professional, linked to professional life. And then linked to 10, linked to what's that word for like when you kind of want to unrealized potential? Sure, that's an interesting one. I mean, if you get your fondest memories linked to unrealized potential, I don't know, maybe it's the moment that you realize it doesn't matter. Flesh this out as much as you want. This is a starting point for the kind of person your character is. Shuffle the spare picture cards and aces back into the deck. Shuffle the spare picture cards and aces back into the deck. Place this in the middle of all players. Just seeing if this is visible on the screen. Place this into the middle of all the players. So then, to be honest, trigger warning and safety section. Because most, if not all of the games that I publish, have some little bit that talks about tools you might want to use, or good ones, or checking that you have something set up with your group for that. So we're pulling some cards to get an initial sense of our characters. We are making the deck in the middle. We've got cards to vote with. I think there needs to be like a kind of scene setting vibe. Also, I haven't said what. Yeah, there's something I need to explain about if you pick a picture card or an ace. When a card is drawn that's a picture card or an ace, to their limits. Oh, yes. Okay, this makes sense. 5's the attack from the nanobots. This player then gets to fulfill the action that the card's suit dictates. They survive, but that's fine. Let's do it. It's just this. but don't get to then fulfill the action that the card's suit dictates. That feels like that evens out the whole draw thing a little bit more. The suits now applies following. Okay, so this is all just like over different pages because that's the best way to actually make it show up on the screen just because of how I've made this work. Okay, where are the open questions? Because like at the moment, if you just pick something that's not a picture card, you've just got, yeah, you don't need to worry about the numbers. I think I'm probably not going to worry about numbers because I would have 4 minutes to draw up a table for that and think of things. And my brain is already a bit, no. Yeah, I think there needs to be, I think the game ends now. The game ends when either, okay, when everyone has been infected by the nanobot monster, and also or when all the cards are drawn, when everyone but one player has been infected by the nanobot monster, or when all the cards are drawn if multiple characters still survive, then, sorry, I've just seen that the subtitles say being infected by the monster, and obviously all I'm thinking about now is the TV family, The Munsters. The multiple characters still survive, then the game ends with describing how they leave. I kind of want like a kind of almost fiasco montage-y vibe because you want to leave it open. How they leave. Each player whose character is alive, uninfected, shares one thing they think, one secret they have. They have that the other character doesn't know, and that they don't intend on sharing with them if they can avoid it. If one player is still alive, narrate what it looks like for them to leave and how they feel doing so. Okay, I've got like a minute. The one thing that's in my head is I feel like there needs to be something there needs to be the aspect of blame, because I like the fact that you are the ones who created this nanobot. And so that kind of blame and that resentment that is bubbling away. So I think I'm gonna put that into the numbers. Yeah, there needs to be a thing that's involving blaming people. Okay, you blame the player on your left for it. Your character blames the character of the player on your left for the nanobot monster. And it's 12 o'clock. Okay, I'm gonna round up by describing this game, because it has been an hour. So if I'm just seeing how to, no, let's not get rid of that. Okay, so we started with this. Oh god, no, because that's not even the right one, because I'm looking at Dead Heist. Okay, that's fine. Dead Heist. We started with a game of chance where you play the scientific team between a now rampant monster who must tell each other how you really feel before there's nothing of you left. You put it to a secret vote whenever you push yourself or your tools to breaking point, and the game ends when there's nothing left to say. So, Dead Heist, the name does not make sense anymore, is a GM-less game for 4 to 6 players, and you need just a deck of standard playing cards. You start the game by taking some basically giving each player a black card and a red card. Those have to be either picture cards or aces. Then take the remaining picture cards and aces, put them in a little pile, and shuffle the other cards. Then each player takes 2 from the kind of main, the bigger deck, and uses this. I'm sorry, I'm just shuffling everything around the shop now to try and get this properly here. Wait a minute, I don't think it's that, and I don't think it's that, I think it's this. Yes, okay, I've actually got control of this now. Okay, so with the cards that you get 2 cards, and you use this to find out a couple of things about your character, which is where you start from in terms of that. I'm going to say that I haven't described it, but you do a little bit of conversation to do some world building and set the scene. Additionally, you then shuffle all the remaining cards back in the deck, including the ones you pulled to describe your character. No, you keep the ones you pulled to describe your character, because otherwise I'm worried this game is too long and there are too many cards in the main deck. So, thank you, Leo, and I love the kind of synchronicity of the battery dying, as I said it was 12. So then you play the game by drawing individual cards, and they tell you what you can do. So if you get a hearts, you tell someone how you feel. If you get a diamonds, you keep hold of who you are by sharing some kind of memory. So it's not saying something about another character or not about a secret you've got, but just talking about your time over the past year, because the nanobots have been going wild. With clubs, you try to hold off the nanobots and in some way. And spades, you work with the nanobots in a weird kind of collaboration that I've not really haven't been down. However, whenever you get a picture card or an ace, no matter what the suit is, that means the nanobots are directly attacking you, and there is a private vote as to whether the others kind of let you go or not, which is done with the red and the black card you were given at the top. Majority black, you survive, and you get to do the action that your card's suit suggests. Majority red, you do not survive. If there's a tie, then you survive, but you don't get to do the action your card suggests. However, if you don't survive, that means that you actually become kind of simpatico with the nanobots. You keep pulling cards so you're not out of the game, because I don't like games that do that. And depending on what the suit is, you can do different things. With hearts, you still exist a little bit within there, which is kind of nice. So you then keep pulling cards until everyone but one character is infected by the nanobots, or until you just run out of cards. And then there are a couple of options for how you narrate stuff, but basically during the game you are sharing memories, information about characters, so you're building up a sense of the characters as you go, and you're building up a sense of the world as you go, rather than establishing that at the top. All makes sense, yeah? Perfect sense. Oh, and because I promised that I would, I was asking people what I should stream today, and some people made some suggestions. So, but I said at least I would talk about A, Fall Guys, and B, the 4 kinds of pasta I would save from the world. So I'll make it quick. Fall Guys. No one but my partner has seen me play Uncooked, and I get so stressed. And I just think that Fall Guys would make me equally as stressed as Uncooked, but probably also like very sweary and angry to any other player that like even vaguely causes any issues for my little avatar. And in terms of the 4 kinds of pasta I'd save, I would save macaroni, I'd save the spiral ones, I would save spaghetti, just classic, and is it linguine, the ones that are like flat that come in little baskets? That's what I do, and I would be really sorry to let go of the bow ties, but they never cook in the middle properly because they're all thick. Anyway, yeah, I know that potentially seeing me lose my shirt on Fall Guys would be fun, Leo. We'll see. Maybe I will do that in future. But thank you so much to anyone who watched this, because this was genuinely just like an experiment, because there are some exciting things that I'm going to do next month with trying to stream Pantos. And having affiliate tools like channel points that can be spent on doing things will make a big difference to that. And so this is basically to get myself to that point. But if you want to see more stuff on this channel, then on Friday it's DIY Film Club, where we reenact and recreate scenes from films. And this week we're doing Hocus Pocus, which is Friday the 13th. A week today is One Player Ready, same time slot on a Sunday, but where I play one player RPGs, tabletop RPGs, to showcase some really cool games and play with how they can be streamed. I've been told the ones that I'm giving up are the farfalle. Yeah. You look really cute, but you're horrible to cook. And then also every other Saturday, so the last one was yesterday, but you can still watch the stream of it, I do made up songs about made up people, where basically people tell me a bit about their tabletop role-playing game characters and I improvise songs about them. So if you ever want a song about one of your characters, then just get on that stream and hop into chat, which is every other Saturday morning. So not this coming Saturday, but the following one. But thank you very much for watching. I might try and write this up into a slightly more structured format. If I do, it'll either be shared at Chloe Mashter on Twitter or rollflipdraw.itch.io, which is where I publish a lot of tabletop role-playing games. So thank you so much for hanging around. I hope you all have a lovely Sunday, and goodbye. Bye.